there. I just saw two figures walking. And I'm hearing... I missed it. There they are. There's two Bigfoot right up there.
Across 18 unsettling encounters captured in forests, remote roads, and hidden surveillance feeds, something unknown continues to reveal itself in fragments. From towering, shadowy figures moving between trees to distorted shapes reacting to cameras, night vision clips, daylight anomalies, and sudden close-range encounters all suggest a presence that defies explanation. Whether misidentified wildlife or something far older, the pattern grows clearer with every report. We are no longer looking at isolated incidents, but a connected series of impossible events emerging now. What started as a normal camping trip to the wilderness of Kentucky quickly turned into a nightmare that left experienced campers fighting for survival. This terrifying encounter was uploaded by Wild Dream Films. But the most disturbing part was not the sounds coming from the woods. It was the moment the campers came face to face with the terrifying creature. Rodney tells his story.
Something was throwing it right at us. It was so close, but there was no sign of a person. Something was breaking saplings, just kind of crunch, crunch. The whole mood went from let's have a good time and sing around the campfire to, oh, what do we do now? I said, if you want to know the truth, it sounds like Bigfoot.
The terror begins as outdoorsman Rodney Adams arrives at the Red River Gorge with two backpackers. The campers choose an isolated spot near a stream and a waterfall and set up their tent. While Rodney washes pans by the water, he starts hearing grunting in the woods. Then a rock gets thrown into the water. This startled him, making him feel like he is being watched.
Decided I better get my pots and pans and scrub out this stuff, because if you let them sit for a day, you'll be scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. So I get down near the water and just kind of scrub out the pans.
Later at the campfire, a huge rock is thrown from the woods and lands in front of them, rolling into the fire pit. The group freezes in shock. Seconds later, another large rock crashes into the nearby water with heavy force. As night falls, they hear deep guttural grunts, loud tree impacts, and snapping branches all around them.
It caught me off guard. It was very loud. It really sounded like a baseball bat. I really couldn't think of how that would happen naturally.
And that's when Rodney spots a massive upright figure standing next to the trees in the woods. It is tall, with a broad frame, and doesn't look like a bear or deer. Just at that moment, a branch flies through the air towards him, barely missing his head. This encounter completely unnerved the group at this point. Later that night, the creature returns and begins rummaging through their metal camping pans by the water.
Got one of my pans in its hand and maybe trying to scrape something out of it. I could see it over there, and it's got my pan in its hand, and it's just kind of scraping the edges of it. It pretty much just froze me in fear. I couldn't even move. It made me feel confused, scared, terrified, all at once. It was actually kind of hunched over.
Rodney shines his flashlight into the darkness and captures a horrifying face with visible eyes and teeth. There was a scary Bigfoot staring angrily at him. The creature kept growling at him before running back into the forest. The next morning, the campers quickly pack up and leave, too shaken to speak about what happened. When you are inside a tent, you think you are safe, but that thin layer of nylon cannot protect you from whatever is lurking in the woods. This chilling footage comes directly from the channel Squatch TV. A terrified camper recorded the moment a massive Bigfoot was peering just outside his tent. Look closely at the mesh screen. Standing beside the thick tree is a large, dark figure. It is only visible from the chest up through the window screen. The creature is seen peeking directly into the tent. Through the thin netting, you can see its thick fur and a broad, heavy shoulder that blocks out the background trees. In the zoomed-in replay, the creature is seen clearly. Its broad shoulders and towering height doesn't look like a bear or any other familiar animal. The creature is only inches away from the camper, standing silently by the window. As the clip loops in replay, you are left staring at a horrifying reality. A massive creature moving through a campsite in broad daylight, and someone was trapped inside the tent while it passed only a few feet away. What would you do if you were the one in that tent? Never let your children camp alone deep in the woods, because the woods are haunted. This chilling story, featured by the Travel Channel, follows two boys whose simple overnight camping trip turns into a terrifying nightmare in the woods. The journey begins with the boys, Dave and George, hiking up a steep hill to find a perfect place to camp for the night. And when they found one, they set up their tent, lit a fire, and roasted marshmallows before climbing inside the tent to sleep. Everything feels peaceful.
As we began the journey up the hill, we talked amongst ourselves and we said, if we want to have a chance of seeing any deer, probably the next best spot would be up on top of that hill because you can see for a long ways.
Good job, Davey. Thanks. Want to go start the fire? Sure.
We found a real good place to pitch our tent. It was just the perfect spot. Beautiful views up on top of that hill. We got our fire going. We got our stuff out, started roast our marshmallows. After we had our bellies full.
But around 1:30 in the morning, they start hearing loud branch snapping noises outside the tent. The boys freeze in fear as they hear deep breathing only inches from the canvas walls. Suddenly, something strikes the top of Dave's head through the tent fabric. Thinking it might be a prank, the boys count to 3 and rush outside to confront whoever is there.
What was that?
Boom! This thing hit me on the head.
Probably my brother Ed trying to scare us. Maybe.
George said, I don't know, unless it's my brother. My brother Ed might be up here trying to scare us.
How about this? On the count of 3, we ambush him. Okay.
George said, hey, on the count of 3, let's go out and scare him. He thinks he's up here scaring us. I goes, okay. So he goes,
1, 2, 3.
The moment they unzip the tent, they come face to face with a massive hairy creature with a huge chest and solid black eyes. That's Bigfoot. It lets out a loud growl. Terrified, the boys scream and runs back to George's house and desperately pound on the door for help. The next morning, George's father returns to the campsite with the boys to search for evidence. In the dirt, he discovers enormous 3-toed footprints pressed deep into the ground. They trace the heavy strides along the ridge until the track line mysteriously vanishes right in the middle of a clear logging road.
George's father saw the tracks and he knelt down and looked at them and he shook his head. We went over to it and looking at it. All I knew is this long, it's about this wide, and at the end, instead of having like 5 toes that you would think would have, it had 3 toes.
Tell you one thing, tracks don't lie. I've never, ever seen anything like this.
We followed the track out across the ridge, the last track, which was in the center of the logging road.
After seeing the massive stride length, the father orders everyone to leave the creepy area immediately. The woods hide secrets that should remain buried. In this terrifying investigation, featured by Discovery UK, a nighttime search deep in the wilderness quickly turned into a nightmare. The story begins inside a dark cabin where Russ Etoine Secord is packing his gears when he suddenly hears movement outside in the woods. With only a flashlight, Russ and his camera operator step into the thick bush and move deeper into the dense forest. The forest around them is completely silent.
Shh. Dude, that's that same sound.
Suddenly, a deep, animal-like grunt echoes through the darkness, causing both men to freeze in their tracks. As they go deeper into the forest, Russ discovers a huge tree branch freshly and violently snapped. He believes the damage may be some kind of territorial marker.
Holy crap, look at this. Right here. What do you think that was? I don't know. This could have been a bear or an elk. You know, when they fight, this is not the time of year they'd be fighting, though.
Just moments later, the camera operator spots a blood trail smeared across a large piece of broken timber. There's also a huge, decayed tree stump near the area. Shifting his focus upward, Russ inspects the deep scratches carved high into a tree trunk. He also searches the muddy ground for footprints. Suddenly, they spot a figure moving in the woods just ahead of them.
See all that stuff turned upside down? Right through there. Shh, listen. Did you hear that? Dude, come here. Did you see it? Right there, right by that tree, right there.
Terrified, both men sprint through the woods trying to track it, but it disappeared behind the trees before they could get to it. As dawn breaks, they review their footage and spot a dark figure standing in the wilderness. It is upright, walking on two legs with long, strange limbs moving slowly. As they study its movement, they notice that one arm hangs limp as if badly injured. Undeniably, this is Bigfoot, and it is completely real. This shocking footage was uploaded by Kenny Snell and reportedly takes place deep in the wilderness of northern Michigan. The story unfolds at a deer hunting camp deep in the woods. After a successful opening day hunt, two friends are relaxing and filming the campsite around them. At first, the men believe they are alone in the forest. Everything seems peaceful, but the woods have eyes.
A very good, successful hunt for that man. Opening day. Right 7 point. Oh, I got my Bloody Mary. Where is it? Right there. It's not a piss jar or blood jar. But over here is our campsite and a nice view. That robin.
Wanting a better look at the area, the cameraman slowly zooms across the pond toward the distant tree line. Suddenly, they notice movement and immediately yell in confusion. Something large and dark is standing right between the trees. The creature appears tall and completely covered in hair. Panic instantly erupts. Terrified of the giant entity, one of them grabs a rifle and fires several shots toward the mysterious figure.
What is it?
I don't know. Over there.
Where? Oh my God! Hold on!
What is that?
Wait a second. Robin, what is that? Robin, what are you doing?
Instead of dropping, the massive creature instantly bolts, running with terrifying speed into the woods. Completely shaken and terrified of what might happen next, the men quickly pack their gear and flee the campsite. In January 2019, a hiker entered the lonely wilderness near Mount Diablo in Northern California, expecting nothing more than a quiet walk through the mountains. But according to this footage uploaded by Squatch Mafia, something else was already waiting in those hills. The hiker is seen walking down a steepy trail, surrounded by twisted, dry brush. Then the hiker suddenly stops and focuses his lens entirely on the low steep just ahead.
Well, doesn't look too bad.
That is when he notices a huge dark figure crouching on the foliage. Then, almost without warning, it suddenly moves, blending perfectly into the shadows. At first glance, it almost looks like a shadow, but shadows do not move.
Dude, what?
What makes the footage even more terrifying is the reaction of the hiker. The moment he spots the creature, he goes into complete panic. He then turns around quickly and runs as fast as he can. You can hear the sheer terror in his voice as he runs breathlessly down the slope to safety. The video replays the unsettling moment, zooming in closer on the creature. The deeper the camera zooms into the trees, the worse the footage becomes. The final frame zooms in on the dark creature standing in the dense thicket. Was this creature simply watching the hiker, or was it waiting for the right moment to move closer? The wilderness of Ohio has always been haunted by terrifying predator beasts, and anyone camping there should be prepared for what may be hiding in the trees. This disturbing encounter was featured by History Channel and centers around a creature many witnesses described as a massive wolf-like beast walking on two legs. The horror begins with old police reports and witness accounts describing aggressive sightings of a giant upright wolf-like creature across Ohio.
In his police report, he said that this predator looked like a wolf-like beast walking on two legs.
That same year, the Defiance Police Department receives 2 more reports of sightings. In one of them, a grocery store worker reports seeing a dog-like creature that's very large run right in front of his car.
The story then shifts to Judge Shane Luthold as he recounts his traumatic encounter with this creature in Bucyrus, Ohio. In 1985, the then 15-year-old Shane was training for a race on a quiet country road at night. While jogging back through an isolated cornfield, Shane suddenly feels like something was stalking him. The feeling becomes so intense that he physically stops running. Moments later, he notices something moving in a strange circular pattern in the cornfield.
I noticed something in the cornfield was like making a circular motion in the corn. Whatever was making this corn move was big. And so I'm watching this thinking, well, that has to be a deer or multiple deer. And then all of a sudden it stopped. And now I feel a little creeped out.
Terrified, Shane starts running again. Whatever is inside the corn instantly keeps pace with him. Every time Shane stops to breathe, the unseen creature stops too. That is when he realizes he is being hunted, and he starts panicking. He launches into an exhausting sprint toward the end of the field, desperate to escape whatever is following him.
I was terrified that whatever was in that corn was going to get me. I'm starting to hyperventilate. I'm thinking, okay, let's try this again, but not as fast. I've got a half mile, and I know the corn's going to end. My house is to the right.
As the corn line finally ends, the creature steps finally out into the open. And that's when Shane sees it. It stands nearly 6 feet tall, a horrifying beast with the head of a German shepherd, pointed ears, long hanging arms, and a strange hunched posture.
As I got to the end of the corn, I turned, and that's when I saw it. This thing walked out of the corn, and it was about 6 foot tall. It had the head of a dog, looked like a German shepherd's head, high pointed ears, and I noticed that it had these long arms that hung down past its knees. Its shoulders were rolled forward like this, and it turned. I remember like locking in on it.
The moment they lock eyes, pure terror takes over. Fleeing for his life, Shane reaches his friend's house and dives into a swimming pool to hide. After surfacing and scanning the dark yard, he makes a final mad dash inside the house, locking the door behind him. Shane maintains that his experience was real and the encounter has haunted him for years, so these sightings were never just stories. Something dangerous is truly in those woods. Some of the most terrifying encounters happen when people least expect them. Just a quiet day in the mountains can suddenly turn into a nightmare. This video was uploaded by Avoid the Attic. This disturbing footage takes us to the rugged Tatra Mountains in 2009, where a relaxing afternoon near a creek may have captured something horrifying hiding in the trees. The story begins high in the remote Tatra Mountains along the border of Poland and Slovakia. A woman named Justina Folger is seen relaxing beside a shallow mountain creek while her friend records the peaceful moment on camera. Everything feels normal. Justina slowly walks into the clear water and steps carefully across the rocky creek bed, while the camera pans across the bright landscape. Then, everything suddenly changes. She lets out a loud, terrified scream as she spots something in the bushes. The camera swings toward the trees, revealing a massive dark figure rushing into the thicket beneath the low branches. The footage is then stabilized, which makes it easier to see its full form. As the clip plays in slow motion, the massive, bulky figure remains highly visible against the trees, capturing a chilling moment of an unexpected wilderness encounter. A researcher went missing in the woods for 27 hours. When he finally returned, he showed his team something they were never meant to see. This disturbing footage comes directly from the channel Whatnot. The video begins with Russell reconnecting with his team on a remote mountain ridge. He then opens his laptop to show them a piece of footage he captured in the woods, what he believed to be two Bigfoot fighting. The camera cuts to a distant hillside covered in thick forest. Russell scans the landscape with a pair of binoculars till he spots a giant dark figure in an open patch of dirt among the trees.
Look at this whole hillside right through here. There could be anything on that hillside. I think I see something moving down here. Okay, you see that little bald spot on the ground? Right on like the second one in. Zoom in. Check that out. Zoom in. It's right there. Is that a bear? There's something right on that clear spot right there. It's dark. It just moved a little bit. Do you see anything? No, not the first one. Not the first one. Drop down. It's the second one. There's three little bald spots there. Look at the second one through. There's something dark right there. I think I saw it move. I saw something. Right there. Are you seeing that?
The camera cuts to the stabilized playback. As the footage becomes clearer, the figure starts walking across the hillside. It moves upright on two legs like a human.
Right there. Are you seeing that? Holy right there, just zoom in, right there. Are you seeing that? Oh, we gotta get down there. I saw something. What? I just saw it again. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Look at that.
Okay.
Now that doesn't look like a bear, does it?
No, it's crazy good.
That was upright.
Watch it again.
Yeah, it's walking.
When the team pauses the video, they notice something disturbing. The creature's left arm swings freely, but its right arm stays pressed tightly against its body. The creature appears injured. The team theorizes that this could be the same creature Russell tracked earlier, potentially injured during an intense territorial fight.
Where's the right arm?
It almost makes it seem like maybe it might have injured the arm or broke it in the scuffle, and then maybe it's holding it close to its body, you know?
Getting something like this is why I couldn't stop. There was no way I was going to be able to get down that mountain fast enough to catch up to it. And I knew you guys would be looking for me, so I thought my best bet was to get together, take you all to the area where I last had eyes on this thing. I want to go back to where this fight, and we can start working that area. I can show you exactly where the fight was.
To pinpoint the creature's location, Russell uses a map and tracks the creature's path moving west. Only 2 miles from their location, recognizing this as their best shot at locating an injured animal, the team quickly grabs their gear and sets out to search the area. This terrifying account was documented by Animal Planet and comes from Aiken County, South Carolina. What happens when something steps out of the woods on an ordinary morning? And why are so many people in this town saying they saw the same thing? The story opens at a crowded town hall meeting in the Aiken County Historical Museum, where residents gather to report strange sightings in the surrounding forests. Investigators ask the crowd to raise their hands if they have ever encountered a Bigfoot in the woods. Several hands go up.
Thank you guys for having us.
Because there seem to be so few Bigfooters in the area, we suspect that a lot of the Bigfoots that actually do live in South Carolina haven't really run across people trying our tricks. So if you believe you have encountered a Sasquatch at one point or another here in South Carolina, please raise your hand nice and high.
A very peculiar account from the mall was that of a local newspaper delivery driver named Chris Cahill. He shared his frightening encounter with Bigfoot while on his morning drive to drop a newspaper into a mailbox. He was driving around a sharp corner when his car headlights suddenly hit a massive wide-shouldered figure walking out from the tree line. It is far too big to be a person. The creature turns toward the car and looks directly at him. The stare was aggressive and hostile. Chris gets terrified, presses hard on the gas pedal, and speeds away from the scene. But the image does not leave his mind. There are other reports from several witnesses.
Town north of me in Ridgeville, I was delivering newspapers real early in the morning, and I was driving around the corner, and I come up to a tube to put the paper in, and I saw this thing. Turned around, looked at me, and it was big. I mean, it had shoulders were at least like this. But the thing that got me is when it turned me, I had the eye shine. It just freaked me out because I got the feeling that it was kind of angry. I was like disturbing it kind of, and I just floored it and got out of there. I was kind of shaken up.
Later, investigators meet Chris at the exact roadside location to recreate the encounter. He points toward the grass line and explains that the creature had giant glowing red eyes and a cone-shaped head covered in thick hair.
And something caught the side of my eye over here, shape. I pulled in a little bit more so I could face it. This figure was walking along that tree line right there. Turned around and it looked at me, and I saw these big red eyes. It was big. Looked at each other for seconds, and then I got really scared and I drove off.
An investigator stands near the trees to measure the height of the figure. They conclude the creature was nearly 8 feet tall. Next is one of the most talked about Sasquatch encounters ever recorded on camera. The footage was recorded by a youth group known as Campus Life during their annual backpacking trip to Marble Mountain in 2001 and uploaded to Purple Wookiees. In this clip, the group of campers comes across a structure in the woods that stops them in their tracks. It is a crude, dome-shaped shelter, built from broken branches, sticks, and leaves. It is too deliberate to be the result of wind or fallen timber, and too large and carefully assembled to be the work of any animal they could name. Nearby, the bark on a tree carries visible markings, and the branches scattered around it look snapped rather than broken.
Some piled logs, but as we wander up, as we wander up into the trees a little bit, we notice that there's a pile of a brush here. And as we look inside, we find out that something...
Brad's getting eaten alive.
Brad, let me...
The kind of clean, forceful break that requires serious strength. There is also a fire pit with no evidence that a fire was ever actually lit there. The group moves around it, trying to make sense of what they are looking at.
Tons and tons of leaves and branches to either camouflage or make a place to hide. We notice claw marks as we look at the trees and stuff. Then we come around, we spin in here, and we see how Whatever it is has been all smoothed out.
Then someone looks up toward the ridge and sees a large dark figure moving along the hill several hundred yards away. The camera catches its tall, upright silhouette as it moves with long, steady strides. The distance makes it impossible to read any facial detail, but the size is clear even from where the group is standing. It is broader and taller than a human. The group also noted that its arms looked far too long and heavy to belong to a person.
There, did you see him moving? He's almost to the tree. There's those 2 trees. Or 3, it might be 3 trees.
He's in the trees.
The 3 trees. You see the 3 trees there, don't you? Yeah. Right up the very ridge. Well, wait a second. He should.
I think something like that, right?
Right. He should come out in between them or past them, I would think. There he is. See him right between the 2 trees right now?
The campers wake up the next morning and the camera sweeps the area, but there is no sign of the creature. It is difficult to argue whether it was a hoax or a real Sasquatch. Deep in the woods in Peyton, Utah, a hiker was going about his activity. Then he spotted some strange sounds coming from the woods. Completely terrified, he took out his phone and began recording. But he was shocked at what he found in the woods. As the camera was filming the woods, it spotted a strange creature, too tall for a normal animal, at least not yet identified walking in the woods, massive enough that the thick bushes can't even fully camouflage it. It walked unbothered, like it has no predator. The hiker was terrified and couldn't even move properly so he wouldn't be spotted by the gigantic creature and potentially lose his life. He recorded just enough as he could. Until date, the mystery behind the creature hasn't been solved. This clip, posted by the YouTube channel We Do It Outdoors, captures an encounter with the Ohio grassman, the regional name given to Bigfoot across the state of Ohio. It's daytime, and the setting is familiar Ohio woodland. The camera picks up a large, dark figure moving behind the trees. It moves without hesitation till it disappears into the brush on the other side. Then, night falls, and things get stranger. The person is now using a night vision torch, scanning the dark forest slowly, sweeping the beam from one side to the other. Then a growl cuts through the silence, low and close, the kind of sound that stops your breath before your brain catches up. There is an eerie stillness hanging in the air as the beam continues to search. Then the camera settles, and there they are. 2 bright eyes shining back from the darkness, unblinking and watching him closely.
What is that? Looks like eye shine. Whistle?
The person whistles toward them, and when the camera refocuses, the creature is gone. But he is not done. He moves toward a nearby tree trunk and knocks 3 times. The forest is silent for a moment. Then 4 knocks come back from somewhere in the dark, echoing between the trees. He knocks again. The response comes again. Something out there is knocking back. He searches frantically, swinging the torch through the tree line, trying to find the source. Then the beam catches them again. The same two bright eyes stared back from between the trees. This time, the creature turns and moves away quickly, swallowed by the darkness before the camera can follow. Amazing Mystery Videos brings you another chilling encounter deep within the forest, where a lone explorer is suddenly overwhelmed by an unexplainable sense of fear, as if the woods themselves are urging him to turn back. Drawn toward a strange moss-covered hollow between ancient trees, he moves closer while an unnatural silence presses in from every direction. At first glance, nothing seems out of place. But when the footage is carefully reviewed later, something disturbing appears just beside the opening. A distorted, face-like formation with hollow eyes, a flattened nose, and a wide, resembling what viewers online have described as a possible forest troll. Some insist it's nothing more than twisted bark and natural illusion. While others believe it's a rare and unsettling sighting caught on camera, the more you look at it, the harder it becomes to ignore the feeling that something is watching back. Following up like this, top Bigfoot Sasquatch presents a disturbing 2010 encounter deep within Algonquin Park, Ontario. A GoPro reportedly captures a tall, shadow-like presence slipping between dense trees, as if it notices the camera and adjusts its movement. Its shape feels wrong, too large for a human, too structured for any known animal, briefly visible before dissolving back into the forest without a sound or trace. Some dismiss it as a staged effect or misinterpreted footage caught in poor lighting. Others believe something unidentified may have been moving deliberately through the tree line. If neither explanation holds, was it actually Bigfoot standing there in that silent moment, watching back? And more unsettling still, what if Bigfoot never actually left the area at all? Filmed near Shady Lake in Arkansas's Waseda National Forest, a family camping in a remote, isolated campground captured something unsettling in September 2012, later published on the channel Jim Harrison. As the camera slowly sweeps through the pitch-black forest, a sudden movement near the tree line reveals a massive, hair-covered figure standing just beyond the darkness. Its posture feels unnatural, almost aware of being watched. The moment it is clearly seen, panic erupts, and the cameraman instantly turns and flees, abandoning the scene in chaos. The footage ends abruptly, heightening the tension of what follows. Whether authentic or misinterpreted, the clip continues to divide viewers online, with many claiming similar Sasquatch encounters reported from the same region to this day. Published by SEOSST in June 2021, the footage follows a cameraman moving deep through a dense, overgrown forest where visibility is low, and every step feels uncertain. As he pushes through thick brambles and tangled brush, the camera shakes, capturing only fragments of the silent wilderness around him. While passing a large pile of debris, something unsettling appears above it. A dogman-like face emerging from the darkness. Its features are distorted. Neither fully human nor animal, covered in coarse hair, with glowing eyes fixed directly toward the lens. In a sudden motion, it jerks back into the shadows, releasing a low growl as the camera lands on it. Was it a cryptid watching from the forest? Or something that should never have been seen at all, ever seen in there? In a dense woodland in Texas, a lone individual is recording a video about a makeshift fort when something unimaginable unfolds on camera. What begins as a calm walkthrough quickly turns into panic as a distorted figure emerges from the trees. The creature suddenly charges forward on all fours, moving with unnatural speed. At roughly 45 seconds into the clip, its anatomy becomes disturbingly clear. Its arms extend nearly as long as its legs, completely disproportionate to a human form. The encounter mirrors disturbing rake sightings reported in various parts of the world. Unlike typical reports where the entity is only heard screeching from a distance, this footage captures something far more unsettling.
Well, that stinks. But yeah, we got some chairs. What was that? Is that a cow? What is that? Oh, frick!
Absolute silence before the attack, removing any warning and leaving no time to react. The camera shakes violently as fear takes over and the person flees in terror. In the high-elevation wilderness of the eastern Sierra Nevada, around 10,000 feet, footage shared by Sasquatch Mafia captures a chilling moment during a calm scene of dogs playing in the snow. In the opening seconds, a large dark figure is briefly seen moving fast along the far left tree line, slipping between trees with an unnaturally smooth, deliberate pace. It quickly disappears behind a thick trunk, where it appears to crouch and interact with the branches before fading from view as the camera turns back toward the dogs. The observer describes the figure as heavily fur-covered and completely natural in movement, sparking intense debate over what may have silently crossed the snowy forest that day. At first, the figure seems barely moving, but enhanced detail reveals faint arm motion and a distinct domed head in profile. It suddenly shifts pace and slips into thick forest cover, as if avoiding detection. Its glide-like movement feels unnatural, lacking human stride. From concealment, it appears to remain still, as though observing quietly. If it's human, why vanish so carefully into the shadows? In the next moment of the footage, a portable camera captures faint, uneasy movement deep behind a dense line of trees. The frame begins to tremble as nearby branches sway unnaturally, suggesting something large shifting within the forest's concealment. As the operator instinctively zooms in, the darkness between the trunks subtly distorts, and a massive shape begins to take form. A tall, black and heavily built figure gradually emerges from the shadows, partially obscured by foliage yet unmistakably present. Its movement is slow, deliberate and weighty, as though the ground itself reacts to each step. The silhouette appears strikingly humanoid in structure, yet far larger than any known person. Those reviewing the clip later describe it as a Bigfoot-like presence vanishing back into the trees, leaving behind an unsettling sense of proximity and unanswered mystery. Another encounter comes from Australia, where a yowie, often described as the region's version of Bigfoot, is caught on camera. The footage uploaded by Urban Angler 68 was filmed in Alpine National Park in Victoria and uploaded to the YouTube channel Urban Angler, where the creator documents outdoor activities and experiences in the wild. The camera follows a narrow trail as the person speaks in the background about the yowie. The area is quiet, with only natural forest sounds as he continues forward.
I'm going to carry on up a few sightings of a yowie. I don't know if you know it, but a yowie is similar to a Bigfoot. And our Aboriginal friends have had a history of yowies over many centuries.
He then moves off the trail and into thicker woods. The camera scans the area slowly. Then a distant whistling sound cuts through the silence. As he keeps searching, the camera suddenly focuses on something ahead. A figure crouched low on a steep section of the terrain. He zooms in. The figure becomes clearer as it rises to a standing position, then moves slowly behind a nearby tree, partially disappearing from view.
I can see something moving down there.
The person quickly hides behind a tree, trying to film without being seen. For a few seconds, the figure is no longer visible. Then it appears again. Its frame comes back into view briefly before it bends down, picks something up, and throws it in the direction of the camera.
I think it's just seen me. That's a yowie. Jesus Freud. Okay, I'm out of here. Let's go.
The reaction is immediate. The person pulls back and begins to move away from the area as the figure continues forward. Coming up next is a video that makes you think seriously about the intentions of whatever is in those trees. This footage was uploaded by Sunnyvator Into the Wild, a channel known for documenting raw, high-definition encounters with cryptids in remote wilderness areas. The video opens on a clear, dense evergreen forest with a large fallen trunk lying across the foreground. Everything looks still until it appears. Right there between the trees, a huge, dark, heavily built figure steps out from behind the timber, holding a large branch of a tree, which it swings hard into the nearest tree. The branch lets out a loud crack, breaking easily. What a beautiful display of strength. Look at the way it strikes the tree with full force, just a few meters from where the camera is positioned. It's almost like it's putting up a show for the camera. And then, without hesitating, it throws the remaining branch directly at the camera. This does not look like an accident. It feels deliberate, like a warning, but it doesn't end here. The Bigfoot pauses behind the tree line, staring straight at the camera, and then gradually walks back into the forest. This is a territorial display from something that knew it was being filmed and wanted whoever was behind that camera to stay away from its space. This sighting was captured in Colorado. Passengers in a train were shocked after they boarded the train, expecting a nice ride to their destination, just to discover something out of this world on their trip. Originally, they were scanning the landscape for elk before a passenger spotted a mysterious, large, hairy figure in the brush. He rushed to grab his phone so he could record the strange creature before the train moved further away. After recording the video, what he found was very disturbing, as nobody has ever seen it before.
It's an elusive creature.
The train was moving through the countryside in its signature rhythm. Inside the train, passengers trying to record an elk, that's when the strange creature was spotted. A strange creature with arms extra long doesn't fit any description for any animal in that environment or any species that can live there. But what the description did fit is that of a Bigfoot. The creature was spoiled, walking across the open grass like it's searching for something.
It's an elusive creature. Alright, just squat it down. Yeah, let me see your camera, I'll do it.
Slow, and suddenly it sat down on the open ground. Some of the witnesses said it answered nature's call on the spot. Others said it's resting, while the rest said it's waiting patiently for something to come out of a hole. Any of the above is up to debate, but what it is doing out in the open is still left unanswered. This footage was captured on the 15th of August 2015. A sheriff was cruising down the road very dark in the night. The only source of light was his car headlights. And that's when he started hearing some loud, strange sounds from the grassland at the side of the road. He'd driven this road on all his shifts, and this is his first time he is witnessing something this strange. An unidentified figure is seen crossing the road just before the car drives past it.
Still got the land, and anybody coming on my property looking for no good, I'm gonna shoot them.
Absolutely. Whoa, what the heck?
What the?
What was that?
Did you see that?
Yes.
After reviewing the footage, what they found left them in shock. Its car engine was running like it should. Headlights focused on the road. That's when something terrifying launched across the road. It has crossed to the other side and off into the bushes before the blink of an eye. After zooming, they found its form, and it's as terrifying as its movement. They sped out of the scene immediately and reported their findings to their supervisors. What you're about to see next is a video that was recorded in the swamps of Florida. This clip was uploaded by Bigfoot Evidence, a channel known for uploading community-submitted Bigfoot footage from around the world. In January 2015, Matthew McCamey took his canoe out into the swampy waters of Lettuce Lake Park, Florida. He thought it was going to be like any other day on the water. Then he heard a loud splash. Matthew got scared, but he didn't turn back. Instead, he recorded the event. Dark water, thick cypress trees, and hanging Spanish moss surrounded Matthew as he scanned the area, tracing the sound. At first, he sees nothing, but then he hears it again, and this time, he sees it. Right there between the dark branches on the other side of the swamp is a massive figure with thick black wet fur splashing the water. The bipedal figure stands up, its back is hunched, and it moves. Then it stretches, standing fully upright, showing its massive dark figure. Matthew paddles his canoe forward slightly, trying to get a closer look at this Bigfoot without being noticed. Just take a look at the Bigfoot's wide arms swinging at its sides as it splashes the water around it, moving like it's playing with the water. Then it walks away into the dark water until the swamp swallows it completely. During a late-night hike deep inside a silent, dense forest, an unidentified creature was accidentally captured on camera. The footage reveals strange, unnatural movements slipping between the trees, as if something massive and unseen was silently following the trail just out of reach. Every frame raises more questions than answers.
We out here hearing weird noises in the forest. What the f***? Oh, what the f***? What the f***?
As the shape appears neither fully human nor fully animal. No official explanation has been confirmed, leaving viewers unsettled and intrigued. Was it a rare forest predator or something unknown that should not have been there at all in the first place, hidden in the darkness? Vintage Picture presents a chilling encounter on a cold, damp night where thick air and dripping tunnel walls made every sound feel unnaturally close. Deep beneath the abandoned passage, a lone urban explorer cautiously pushed forward after hearing disturbing screeches echoing through the darkness. At first, he assumed it was some wounded animal trapped below, but with every step, the noises became far more disturbing, almost human yet completely unnatural. Then, his camera captured something crouched at the far end of the tunnel.
They're like screaming or something in this tunnel. I'm gonna go check it out.
For one terrifying moment, it stared directly toward him before vanishing back into the shadows, leaving only silence behind. The footage follows a YouTuber venturing deeper into a dark abandoned tunnel where water echoes beneath his footsteps and graffiti-covered walls fade into blackness. Suddenly, a horrifying screech tears through the silence from somewhere ahead. The sound feels unnatural, neither human nor animal. As the eerie noise grows closer through the tunnel, one terrifying question remains. What was hiding in the darkness, waiting for him? Amazing Mystery Videos brings you another chilling encounter deep within the forest, where a lone explorer is suddenly overwhelmed by an unexplainable sense of fear, as if the woods themselves are urging him to turn back. Drawn toward a strange moss-covered hollow between ancient trees, he moves closer while an unnatural silence presses in from every direction. At first glance, nothing seems out of place. But when the footage is carefully reviewed later, something disturbing appears just beside the opening. A distorted, face-like formation with hollow eyes, a flattened nose, and a wide, resembling what viewers online have described as a possible forest troll. Some insist it's nothing more than twisted bark and natural illusion. While others believe it's a rare and unsettling sighting caught on camera, the more you look at it, the harder it becomes to ignore the feeling that something is watching back. On a strange night, Angelo and his team venture deep into the wilderness, determined to find Bigfoot. Despite the eerie silence, the group remains excited, joking as they prepare their gear, eager to finally capture the legendary creature on camera. With growing confidence, they declare their mission clearly. Tonight, they are out searching for Bigfoot in the dark forest. Surrounded by dense trees and complete darkness, every sound feels amplified as they move forward carefully, hoping the night will reveal something real lurking beyond the shadows. Tonight feels different now.
Abnormal night to start with, but all right, what do you say we go find a Bigfoot?
Let's do it, brother.
Hopefully, I really want to catch one out here on camera. All right, Bigfoot, we're coming for you.
Angelo insists he saw something standing there, his voice tight as he replays the moment in his mind. Even in the darkness, he's convinced there was just enough light aimed in that direction to reveal movement. He doesn't look away, locked onto the same shadowed spot as doubt slowly turns into unease. After a long, heavy silence, finally asks if something is still back there, while the forest itself falls unnaturally quiet as if holding its breath.
Dad, no, I thought I saw something. You see that tree line over there?
Yeah.
Where that big pile of torn down trees is? Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
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 I thought I saw like something standing there. I mean, I know it was dark, but there was enough light because you were aimed that way.
Yeah.
Is there something back there?
As he goes further into the forest, he notices something deeply unsettling. Another broken tree, its trunk snapped with unnatural force. The deeper he moves, the more damage appears. Branches torn clean off, trunks split, and trees bent out of shape as if something massive forced its way through. It doesn't look random anymore. It looks deliberate, almost like something huge carved a path through the woods. He pauses, staring at the destruction, questioning the same chilling thought. Was this the work of Bigfoot, or something even more unknown hiding in the dark?
Holy crap. There's a lot of them over here. This could very well be Bigfoot. We don't know. Looks like the limb's been like snapped clean off. I don't know from which tree. This one? Wait, how? This is like a... I don't know. Oh, look, there's this too. Yeah, something legit like snapped this. That's crazy. The fact that like we've been here so many times and this is kind of like where we hear the sounds.
He hesitates, unsure, admitting that maybe it isn't clear what's out there, but something is definitely moving in the darkness behind the trees. A sudden chill settles in as a deep, unnatural sound echoes through the forest, almost like a distant moan. Confusion turns to alarm as another sharp, high-pitched cry follows from the same direction.
Whoa. It's almost like this was like set up like this.
His breathing tightens as he tries to understand what he just heard. Then, without warning, something seems to fly out from the darkness, forcing him to react instantly. The forest feels alive now, unpredictable, hostile, and hiding something that refuses to stay unseen in the shadows. So tell us, have you ever had a Bigfoot encounter in the woods? Would you still camp in the woods after watching this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more chilling footage.